Welcome to Unlock Your Retirement. I am your co-host, Tony Shore, and I'm here with our host, Bruce Smith, Bruce Smith III to be exact. And Bruce is the founder of Bruce Smith III. Yep. And Bruce is the founder of the WealthKare Investment Center. And he's an advisor for retirees, near retirees. I've been in radio. Actually, I started in 1984. That's 41 years ago, Bruce. That's insanity.
I was in radio before you were in radio. Wow, that's scary.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I think, yeah, that was just a quick aside. I'm not going to give my full resume here, Bruce, but you and I have been doing this a long time. You've been in finance about 40 years. I've been in radio about 40 years plus. So this is going to be a good show. I think today's topic is a good one. It's one of the most common questions you probably get asked, and almost nobody's asking it early enough. People ask you this question about, hey, how do I fill that income gap in retirement? How do I make my money last as long as I do? That's the big concern. The problem is we should be asking that in our 20s, not in our 50s and 60s, but that's kind of human nature, I would say. Now, last week, we probably, I kept busy. I got to see my mom and dad, and I had a good time. How about you? You've been really busy. You've been working. You tell me about new company ideas you have, meeting with clients. You're doing seminars to help teach people about finance, investment, and retirement planning. I mean, I don't know where you get the energy, honestly.
Oh, Elon and I made a deal. He could have Mars. I'll take Earth.
I love it. Now that's a good deal. I would, yeah. That's you got the better end of that stick. I mean,
I can breathe here.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit on Mars,
but don't have to wait 100 years until we get things.
Well, that's what fills up the email boxes. Is this whole idea of the SpaceX IPO coming, the biggest IPO in the history of the planet? And there's some really interesting things going on there. But
sure.
It's really funny. I mean, you and I remember cart machines doing radio back 40 years ago.
Those big rectangular cartridges that looked like 8 tracks, and you'd put them in, and they'd be on a loop. They'd just loop around and play the commercial, and then they'd go back to the beginning. And then
a 20-year-old that clicked into our YouTube channel here and just went, "What's an 8-track?"
Yeah, what's a cart? What's an 8-track? Yeah, carts. Radio stations used carts, and it just had a tape, an audio tape, and a magnetic tape that ran in a loop, and you'd hit start, and it would run the commercial, and then cue back.
XYZ car dealer today, yes.
Yeah, and then it had a little metal tab on the tape that would automatically stop it, so it would start at the beginning each time. And so those were handy before computers.
The thing that I always thought would be cool. One of my favorite movies, and I'm pretty sure it's one of yours, is Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it is one of my all-time top 5 movies of all time.
I mean, that's of all the DJ things. FM, which you and I've talked about.
FM is a great movie from the 70s as well. Yeah.
And Good Morning Vietnam is probably our 2 favorite radio hosts.
Oh, yeah. I also, another movie that involved a radio announcer played by Jeff Bridges, more of a dark movie, but The Fisher King with Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges.
Okay. Another Robin Williams.
Yeah, that's a great movie. And Jeff Bridges played a famous on-air talk show host. And of course, the whole reason I got into radio, WKRP in Cincinnati, Dr. Johnny Fever inspired me to get into radio.
Funny you would say that. I got a link sent to me by a client this week. No joke. There is a WKRP streaming, and it's got great music.
I just, you know what? Somebody sent me that as well. It showed up in my inbox this last week too.
I think I sent it to you.
Oh, did you send it to me? You sent it to me. Yeah, it was you who sent it to me. That's right.
One of our listeners sent it to me, and then I sent it to you. Yeah. See,
Dr. Johnny Fever.
Tony and I do converse during the week also.
So, yes. Oh, yeah. We're constantly texting each other, talking to each other, emailing each other. So, but we also have fun on the show. And today's show is not going to be any exception, because this is such a good one. I'm glad we're talking about this. I mean, a lot of people just stumble through between retirement, Social Security. I think, people don't quite grasp what they need to do, and creating a retirement income that's the trick, right? A lot of people they've done good at saving. They have these lump sums, the 401ks, the TSPs, the 403bs, the IRAs, whatever retirement accounts they have, but they don't realize all the implications of that account. And then they're like, how do I know this is going to last me? And is it enough, right?
Brought to you by Tony the acronym, sure.
Yes, exactly.
401ks, IRAs, TSPs, you name it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, this is one of the hard ones that we deal with quite a bit, and there is no exact answer for it. But I will, and our purpose in the show today is really to kind of clear up a lot of misconceptions, some wrong information that's out there, and really what should you be looking at? What lens should you be using to focus this on? Because if you retire at 62, what is retirement? Is retirement, I'm done working and I will never work a job again? Or is it, well, I'm retiring at 62, but yeah, I'm hanging out down at the fishing store and selling bait or whatever it might be. Do you have income? If you have additional income, then, do you want to take Social Security? Will they be taking money back from you from Social Security? For some people, they say, oh, I'm just going to wait till that magical full retirement age, whatever that is. And as always, the government made it complicated depending on the year and the month that you were born as to year and the month that you're going to be able to claim full benefits.
The formulas they use.
Thanks. We thought we were good when they got rid of, they had 70.5 for RMDs and then it became 73. We were like, good, we got rid of the half year. No, there's still 59.5. So that's a problem,
Yeah.
But
adults, I have news for our government. Adults do not celebrate half birthdays or keep track of them. So why that happened, what happened, right? The 59.5 rule to withdraw from retirement accounts. Somebody, one party wanted 60, the other wanted 59, and they had to compromise at 59.5, which is, they couldn't round up or down. It's crazy. That's our government in a nutshell. But anyway, I digress.
Actually, it was 59.4789.
Probably.
They decided that we're gonna agree on something. Let's make it 59.5. Okay.
Right. But people don't that's not an actual birthday. It's 59. Unless you're 5 years old, there is no such thing as half birthday. So I don't know what our government was thinking, but
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so when do you retire? And more correctly, what we're talking about is when do you claim Social Security? And do they happen on exactly the same day? And if they don't, then there's a gap. So all right, during that period of time when I'm not getting Social Security and I'm needing money for retirement, where am I getting the money from? Because I probably don't have a pension. So what is the right Social Security claiming strategy? And what do you do for money between the time you retire and Social Security kicks in? Then the claiming strategy, let's focus first on what the financial industry tells us. Hey, come on down. We have a super special high tech Wamperdine does it all. We will show you how to maximize your Social Security. Yep, I can do the same thing. I can do it in under 5 minutes for you and your spouse. And you only need to bring me one little note on a little yellow Post-it note. I just want you to tell me one thing. Tell me when you're going to die. Write down the date you're going to die. So when I know that, I can show you how to get every possible nickel out of Social Security. Well, you can't do that, So guess what? It's a guesstimation. More importantly, they want you to focus only on Social Security. And this is something that we talk about again and again and again. Is too many things financially. I just was on the phone with a gentleman this morning with $4 million, and he was asking about taxes. He was asking about portfolio, and he was asking about them separately. And I said, you don't realize. I said the compounding by looking at all four things: your legacy, your income, your taxes, and your risk, all four at the same time. They all are connected. Well, it's the same thing here. Social Security is part of the overall income plan.
Oh,
what is it you need? Yeah, what is it you need? I mean, and for most people, it'll be the primary form of stable income. Now we have a lot of doctor clients that they're saying I used to have a pension. The one hospital company got bought out. We're on a different hospital plan, and they cashed out our pension into a lump sum distribution along with our 403b. And they're like, I want stable income. Okay, so we'll look into the annuity world and say, okay, but on a competitive business, so as an SEC registered fiduciary firm, we'll go out to a number of companies and say, based on gender, based on age, how do you get give us the maximum lifetime guaranteed income available for the doctor or the doctor and his spouse, and we get competitive quotes. So we don't have any allegiance to anybody because Social Security is one form of that stable income. We hear this one a lot is, well, I don't think Social Security is going to be around. Well, we can plan without it, but realistically, if you're that close to retirement, I don't think you're going to see Social Security disappear in your lifetime.
Well, no, worst case scenario, even if the trust fund runs out, they say benefits would drop by about 20%. Plus there's 3 different things they can do to immediately fix it for another 50 to 100 years. So,
Right.
And they will end up I mean, I have no doubt that they'll end up shoring it up by raising the full retirement age, increasing how much comes out of the workers' paychecks. Right now it's 12.4% total, 6.2 from your employer. You pay 6.2. They're going to raise that to each pay 7, so it's 14%. That alone, plus the full retirement age, could probably do it. And then they'll raise the cap on how much of your income gets taxed by Social Security.
You just hit an interesting point, and this is one we hear a lot, and I want to clear this up for our listeners, just to save you the grief of having the discussion down the road. One thing that keeps circulating out there in cyberspace, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, is it's my Social Security. I paid into the system. They should not be taxing me. I'm getting double taxed on my money, and that's not really true. And here's why. Is that, you hit the nail on the head. You said 6.2% to the employee, 6.2% to the employer. And what was happening was the employer puts their share in, which is a deduction for the business. It's a cost, it's an expense. Okay. And that money was never being taxed. So that's the justification or the ramification of Congress saying, wait a second, we should be getting tax money on this because it is benefiting you, the consumer. So yes, it is your money. Yes, it was put in an account for you, but it wasn't after tax money on the employer side. And that's part of why there's taxation on Social Security. That was the reasoning and kind of where that came into being. Is it a logical argument? I'm not saying it is, but there is a method to the madness. It's not just, double taxation. They're taxing a portion that otherwise would have went untaxed. But
yes.
So, how do you answer the question, when do I take Social Security? And most of the people will answer that question by accident. It's really a guesstimation. We have people that are like, I'm not taking it till I'm 70. Okay, that's a choice, but mathematically, does it make sense? I'm going to take it at full retirement age. I'm taking it at 62 because, I'm not going to live long enough that I'll get more money, if I don't take it at 62. All of these different options are emotional driven. They're not mathematically driven, but most importantly, they're not coordinated driven. So it's not a coordinated decision in with everything else. There's one strategy that we build for people quite often. It's like if they don't need their Social Security and they are full retirement age. So this is an advanced tax strategy. If you want to know more, you can give us a call at WealthKare, 888-888-5601, or visit whywealthcare.com. And then you can schedule a 20-minute complimentary retirement value discovery call there. But we get people to say, well, I'm not going to take my benefits till I'm 70. And I go, okay, that's fine. And we know what that number would be at age 70. And we'll say, let's take it at 67. Let's take it at the full retirement age. I'm like, well, why would I do that? I said, bear with me. I said, now I'm going to give you the stupidest thing you've ever heard. I want you to take it at 67, and I want you to go ahead and give it back to Uncle Sam. Because that's really what you're doing if you don't take it till 70. You know, you
Right.
could have taken it at 67, but that stays with Uncle Sam. 68 stays with Uncle Sam. 69 stays with Uncle Sam. 70 now stays with Uncle Sam. Then you take your benefit. So let's take that Social Security and let's give it back to Uncle Sam in the form of taxes. What are you talking about? Have you lost your mind, Bruce? I say, hold on. You have that money in a 401k, right? Use that to pay the taxes and find out how big of a Roth conversion you can get and let Uncle Sam pay the bill for you. And they're going, okay, why would I want to do that? Because at age 70 now, you are getting a 67 benefit, not the 70 benefit. So there's a spread there. We go into the Roth and we take the spread, and there's no taxation on that. So actually, your overall income taxes are less with that advanced strategy.
Sure.
So since when I say Social Security isn't just about Social Security or a singular number, it's part of the overall income plan. That's a key element. You know, any accidents that happen with regard to retirement income, they don't feel like accidents. They feel like a tax that nobody told you about. There's a percentage of people that still think their Social Security is not taxable. It is taxable. You know, it's either a very low income threshold is zero, and then it jumps to 50% of Social Security is taxable. Then it's 85% of Social Security is taxable. But upon a death of a spouse, you know, whatever you were getting for Social Security, the one benefit you lose, they go in and they pull it out of the 401k, the IRA, and it's 100% taxable there. So it does change the tax element there.
Yeah.
So let's look at that 62 to 67 range, because that's kind of
Yes.
where the speed bumps are. And those, for many people, those can become the most expensive years of your retirement if you make the wrong decision. Because if you're not getting the money from Social Security and you need the income, where are you getting it from? You're probably getting it from your 401k or your IRA, and you're having increased taxation on that money, but you're also reducing the value because you're drawing that money out. Will Social Security be able to make up the difference? Only a comprehensive plan can show you the math in that.
Yeah. Well, and when to file for Social Security has become a hot topic, and there are arguments. I read them online, people going back and forth. No, you're better off taking it at 62. No, you're better off waiting for 70. And in a lot of circumstances, you should take it at your full retirement age, 67 for most people. It depends on your individual situation and time horizon and how much you have and where you have, almost more than how much, where is that money at? Is it in a tax deferred account? Do you have other money in a tax free account like a Roth or cash out your life insurance? Where is your other income coming from? You look at all those things, right?
I mean, because we're back to my favorite topic, thumb rules. We know how much I hate
rules of thumb. Yeah.
Well, you know, yeah, I mean, a thumb rule is one of those things that it applies to everybody, you know? I mean, you know, 3 strikes, you're out. Okay, that rule applies to everybody in baseball. They don't say, "Oh, no, wait, you're different. You get 4 strikes." It doesn't work that way. So a thumb rule is not an absolute. Well, there's a 6% growth until you reach your full retirement age, and it's an 8% growth in the benefit if you wait till you're 70. Yeah, that's what the math of the table shows. But, you know, it doesn't work the way you think it works because you've now deferred and not received income for a number of years. You've got to make up for that number too. So it don't play the thumb rule game. Don't play the, you know, online Facebook or some guy down at the restaurant tells you when to take Social Security. If you want the best strategy, it needs to be part of your overall plan. That's the bottom line to this. You know, trust beats efficiency. You know, so that's the name of the game.
Every time. Yeah.
Every time. Every time.
Yeah, so important. So, and a lot of factors come into play. You mentioned taxes, and I think a lot of people, politicians said with the big beautiful bill, it did a lot of great things. They said, "Well, wait, there's no more taxes on Social Security because of the big beautiful bill." No, a lot of people who would have had to pay taxes on Social Security now don't because of the additional $6,000 per person tax deduction. Super deduction.
Yeah.
And so that drops a lot of people below where they'd ever need to pay tax on their Social Security. But there are still people who, if they have enough taxable income, will still have to pay tax on Social Security. It's just the standard deduction brought the average to below average people below that amount. right? Am I right on that?
You're spot on. That's but it makes for a good soundbite. I don't have
Yeah.
to pay taxes on my Social Security.
Oh, yeah, when I heard them say that, I'm like, "Wait, they didn't." Yeah, they wanted to, remove taxes from Social Security, but that takes a special vote in Congress, and they wanted to make it part of the big beautiful bill, so their compromise, the way they got around it is, we'll raise the standard deduction for a super deduction for people in that age range for an extra 6,000 per person. That's an added $12,000 on top per couple added on to what the $31,000 standard deduction for couples. You're looking at almost a $45,000 standard deduction for people in
Yeah.
their 60s, 65 and older, especially at 62 and older. Why, that is going to take a lot of people either pay no taxes or lower their tax, brackets enough where they would not have to pay taxes. So
Well, and
on
it's
Social Security.
and it's a question we got quite often, and, I mean, I hate to be the harbinger of the truth, but it's like, "I'm sorry, but no, that's not really how it works,"
Right.
and I kinda had a tit for tat back and forth with one of my good clients because it's like, "Well, that's not how I heard it." I'm like, "Well, this is the way it is," and finally, he ended the conversation, he says, "Well, that's an inconvenient truth." I thought that
An
was
inconvenient truth.
That's an
Yeah.
inconvenient truth. That's not
Yeah.
what I wanted to hear, but I see where you're at. Yes, you're right, Bruce. An inconvenient truth.
Well,
So,
yeah, I mean, sure, the majority of people who were having to pay that, a lot of them now don't because of the big beautiful bill, but they didn't eliminate taxes on Social Security. I
no.
mean, that's
Sorry, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but
yeah, up to
if you heard it
85%.
and didn't like it, it was Tony Shore that told you that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, throw me under that bus. I guess I did bring it up. But,
You did, yes.
we're gonna have to wrap up here pretty quick. We only have a minute or 2 left in this, on this topic, but I think it is important, the income gap years, a lot of people, um think they have to start taking Social Security at 62 because that's what their neighbor did or their buddy at work, or that's what they think they'll get more checks. You will get more checks that way, but nobody knows, like you said, unless you know the exact date and time when you're going to pass.
Right.
It's pretty tough. Nobody has a crystal ball. So you have to base it on your situation. Obviously, if you have a terminal illness or, everyone in your family up the line has gotten hasn't had a long lifespan, you do need to take those things into consideration. But you do have to plan for income in the gap years if you're going to let Social Security roll up. And that's why you have to work with a trusted financial professional. I'm not going to name names, Bruce Smith III. But I know a guy who can help you. And Bruce, before we hit the break here, our listeners, how can they get a hold of you? What website do you want them to go to find out more?
I think the thing you're going to like if you go to whywealthcare.com. So why do I want to work with WealthCare's team? Why, the word why, WHY, wealthcare with a K.com. Is probably the best website to go to, or you can give us a call, 888-888-5601. That's the best number to catch us. And like I say, we'd love to have a 20-minute discovery call. And we can, make the core of the call. What do I do for that 5-year period that I might have to figure out? Do I take Social Security? Don't I take Social Security? Let's have the call and see if it makes sense.
All right. Sounds great. And that does it for part 1 of this episode of Unlock Your Retirement.